So, welcome, guys. I'm Paige. I am a senior this year, which is crazy because I just started, I feel like. Um, and now I'm graduating and I'm scared, so there's that. I study psychology and human development, and I've commuted the whole time. So, I've never lived on campus. Um, so, I've commuted pre COVID and probably post COVID. So, that's me. And we have Amanda.
Yes, I am Amanda. I am a junior. I am in the social work program with an emphasis in child welfare and a minor in psychology. And I've also always commuted. I've never lived on campus, so I really like it.
So this is pretty much an open Q&A for you guys. So if you have questions, you can feel free to ask them and then introduce yourself before you ask, just so we know who you are and kind of what you're all about. So give it to you guys.
Yeah, I didn't really have any questions myself, but I just wanted to see if someone else might have a question that I didn't think about yet.
Yeah. Sounds good. And then what's your name, what's your major, and where are you from?
All right, so I'm Evan. It says on your computer. My major is computer science, and I just came from Ashwaubenon High School.
Okay, awesome. I went to Preble, so.
So my name's Matthew. I do have a question, but I'll introduce myself first. My name's Matthew. I'm from Middleton. I went to Clark Street, which is like right next to Middleton High School. It's a charter school kind of. And my question would be like, how did you do with online classes? Like, because did you ever have to, like, I guess you guys didn't have to go in person because they just shut down the entire campus, didn't they? So.
Yes and no. So last semester was super weird. And so I'll have Amanda explain hers after, but so I have in-person classes normally, and so I prefer in-person classes just because I learn better with other people around me, where I can either see them like nodding their head, saying like they understand, or if they have questions. So I prefer in-person classes. And we shut down March, so like the week before my birthday, so like the 12th or something like that, I think. And then so I had these in-person classes, and I had one online class as well. And then they're like, okay, everybody, go home, bye. And then they're like, we'll see you online. And so I did that. And it was okay. It was okay. It was a little messy at first for some classes that aren't used to being in person. I'm thankful that several of the classes I had in person also had a choice to be online. I just opted for the in-person class. So for some of them, it was easier than others. For example, I was in Human Disease and Society, and he already teaches that class online as well. So he kind of just integrated how he does for the normal online classes.
Yeah.
But I was in a First Nations course, and the thing about First Nations courses here is they're very keen on group presentations, kind of the collective and oral presentations. So you can imagine how hard that would be to transition to right away, especially because now you're working with weird work schedules that may or may not still happen. People in my group were also parents, and so their kids were now homeschooled. And so trying to find real life time to log on together and do something like this was extremely hard when you're also doing all of the other things online now, or working from home, or all those things. So it was challenging, but also I'm thankful that it wasn't chaotic on my end anyway, because people seem to kind of be like, okay, we're in this position now. What are we going to do? And then let's do it. And now it's okay. So, and then I don't know if Amanda wants to add to that, but.
Yeah, I don't know. Mine was like completely different. For some reason, everything went completely online for me. My classes, my jobs. I have an elementary school job at Baird Elementary School in Green Bay. So the kids weren't going to school. We weren't going to school. So it was complete like 180. Like I went completely online. The best thing I can offer you is to get a really nice little space for yourself to just kind of keep yourself in the zone. Like associate that space with work, like, and that's it, and just to focus. But yeah, everything was completely different for me. I usually take like half online and half in-person classes. It's kind of what helps me a little bit with the commute because I do commute 30 minutes to campus. So it's kind of dependent. I think you'll see how it goes like this semester and how you prefer online classes. And a really good idea is to do half online and half in person if you're comfortable with that because it'll save you your commute time, it'll save you gas money, all those things. But I do agree, like in person and collaborating with people in real life is also very awesome. It will help you grow and help you with your classes. But that's why I always love study groups and connecting with people in my classes as well. So forming like those few friends that you can always turn to in your class and catch up on work or catch up for lunch and study is also a really great idea.
And then,
I was gonna say, so with that, like any follow-up? Go ahead.
oh yeah, I was just going to ask. So how do you balance like work? Because I hear you both have jobs like work and school. Like, how do you balance those out?
Amanda, you can go first on this one.
Well, it was kind of a struggle for me because I didn't realize that I was piling on so much onto my schedule, and I had to kind of take a step back and kind of reevaluate what I wanted to prioritize. I would say just kind of put your school first and kind of lay out that schedule, know what times you're available and know what times you aren't available. Get yourself into a schedule where you work on one class a day or however you prefer it. But it works for me because my job is only an after school job, so it's only from 3 to 6. Those are the only shifts that I can work, and my classes fit really well with that, whether they're online or if they were in person, they would have gotten out at 3 o'clock, so I'd be able to make it to work on time. So just kind of put your school first, most definitely, and then check what times that you are available to have some sort of job, and then work through there. And I wouldn't add too much right away, of course. Don't overwhelm yourself and always put yourself first. Make sure to block off time so that you can take care of yourself and do things that you want to do. So it's not just schoolwork, 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 because it can get very, very overwhelming and just really tiresome. But I really recommend like on-campus jobs. They will definitely work with your schedule or something that's close to your home where you're commuting from.
Yeah, I'm planning on working in the bookstore. I have a cousin that goes to UWGB right now. She's 2 years ahead of me, and she says that the bookstore is really overwhelmed right now. And I got another question. Does it take very long to get accustomed to the layout of UWGB?
So I'll answer both questions because I want to add to what Amanda had said previously. So the first, your question is shorter. So in short, no, it doesn't take that long. If you have free time, come visit, like come walk around, and you'll kind of realize that where you walk kind of, if you just follow the hallways, you're going to eventually kind of go in a circle. So that's kind of nice. Also, the signs in the hallways point exactly where you're supposed to go. I've never been like deceived. Like if you're supposed to go up that way, it'll have like a diagonal arrow saying that way, so you're not confused. So yeah, I spent a lot of time during my GB welcome actually. I was in between events or whatever, I would go walk around. So I did that. And then second, to add on to what Amanda originally said about work and class. So story time. So I am, like I said, from Green Bay. I used to work over at Hilltop Cafe, which is just technically the back of campus, just up the hill on Bay Settlement Road. I worked there for 5 years. So I worked since I was a freshman in high school, and I worked full-time during high school. And when I got to college, I had a class that went to, it was like something, and it was like 2:15 like 3:30 or something like that. And our shifts there generally started at 3. And they were like, well, we need you to be here at 3. And I was like, okay, well, I have class that I pay for college until 3:30. I can get there at like 3:35. I can be there early, like right after. And they're like, nah, can't work. Not going to do it. Okay. And then they were letting other people come in at 4 o'clock, 4:30, whenever they kind of were done. And so I had to be that person that was like, no, that's not going to work for me. You know what I mean? And I think especially commuters have it a little bit differently. because we do have jobs and we have to sometimes maintain that level of income, that level of loyalty to those jobs, because off-campus jobs we know aren't legally obligated to abide by certain hours that they can work with you in. They can schedule you, and that's just kind of something that you're going to have to deal with. And that can be hard. So you do have to kind of be your own advocate and put that schooling first, even though it's tricky to say, like, hey, you scheduled me for a time and I can't do it. I'm sorry. It's not, well, maybe I can leave class 30 minutes early. Don't. No. They shouldn't ask you to do that, because that job isn't going to be your forever job, and they should understand that you're bettering yourself. I now have 3 jobs and 3 internships and classes, so I also pile a lot on myself. But I do have to sit down and make time for me, make time for my relationships, make time for just being a person where I'm not doing anything or fulfilling any role, just being me. And so it takes practice. And like I said, it doesn't just come naturally. You might have a workplace that doesn't really abide by those boundaries you're trying to set, but you need to be able to be like, no, this is what I'm doing. This is how I balance it. Because if you let certain jobs kind of push those boundaries, they always will. So the best way to balance it is to enforce those boundaries that you have. And also understand, just because you have free time doesn't mean that's time for you to work. So just because I had class, let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 11 to 2, that does not mean that from 2 until the end of the wee hours of the morning I should be at work. So maybe like this upcoming semester, I don't have class in person, but I have Mondays off. I told both jobs that Monday is me day. I don't want to do anything on Mondays. Because, I still have to fit in things like doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, free time, shopping, all those other things that I have to do. So I have to be able to go to them at some point. And so making that time to do those things is important. Do you have any other questions so far? I talked for a long time and I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I
Oh, no, it's fine. I would have the question of like, how do you just try to stay involved in like campus life, like making friends, clubs, all that stuff, when you're off campus,
I guess I'll start. I don't know. It's cheesy, but once you come to campus and make friends, it just kind of all falls into place. Like, you'll find these friends, they'll connect you to other resources and other things. They might be working at the coffee shop, so you go to the coffee shop more often, you meet their friends, they work at different parts on campus. Joining clubs has been the highlight of my college career. It's helped me get more volunteer hours, get more resources. I found all my clubs through OrgSmorg. I don't know if that's happening, Paige. Do you know if that's still happening, whether it's virtual or in person?
We will have a virtual OrgSmorg.
Okay, so virtual OrgSmorg. So OrgSmorg is basically just a huge conference where all of the different, most of the clubs on campus will set up a booth and have just all the information about what they do, what they stand for, what being in that club means, whether it's volunteering or doing service projects, or just doing outreach. So find something that you really love. So I really love kids. I joined a club that volunteers directly with kids in the Green Bay community. And from there, I met people that have the same passion as I do, love working with kids. And we found creative ways to do that and volunteer in the area. I have a job at the elementary school, and I made friends through there. And they've connected me. That's how I joined my sorority. I met somebody at my work, and they were like, hey, I'm in the sorority, recruitment week's coming up. Why don't you come? So it's like, I love to compare campus and the university in itself as a big giant web of resources that you meet somebody, they'll connect you to something else. You'll be at an event with them and you'll find somebody else and they'll connect you to this. And so just don't be afraid to be yourself, and don't be afraid to do those challenges where you maybe sitting alone or you may be going to an event alone. Say hi to somebody, because you'll never know, they could become your best friend. And that's kind of what happened to me. I went to my first event on campus and I went alone and I was scared, and then I met 5 new friends and I still talk to them every day. And we share the same interest, and we go all over campus together and go to events. So yeah, being involved is definitely an easy thing as long as you find something that you're really passionate about.
Wow.
Yeah, and like take that same energy when you're looking for stuff in your major, because like for me, I for what I love people, but I don't do clubs very well. I don't do organizations as much. Like you don't really see me going to all of those different things, but you will always see me talking to like my professors, my faculty, people in my major, because like for me, it sounds really weird, but like my my hobbies are very individualistic hobbies. I love to draw, but I don't want to draw with friends sort of a thing. I just that's
Yeah.
kind of like what I do in my downtime. Um, so I draw. I love to learn about psychology. I love to like read books that kind of have like those themes in it. Um, so it's a little bit of a different dynamic, but for me that means um, looking for internships that maybe have people that I'm working with that are also in my field. So I work in the neuroscience lab. So for me, I get excited to go to my meetings because we all just get to like be like super nerdy about the thing that we really love doing. And for me, it's like I'm doing work that's part of my major, but it's not, it doesn't feel like work. It's something I enjoy doing, something I enjoy learning about, because at the same time, it's kind of like a little club because not everybody gets to do it. And that's kind of cool that it's still like your own little exclusive little group, but it's not always, you know what I mean? Like it's not always something that you find at Orgsmorg. Sometimes they are. I'm an ambassador with Amanda. It's like that is at Orgsmorg, and that is an organization that there's like 40 of us. So um, that is something I do. But like, as far as other clubs and stuff, I'm also just too dang busy to be a part of a lot of those things. So, um, but either way you do it is a good way to meet other people, because then I get closer with my faculty who knows a person at this grad school I eventually want to go to. So now I made other connections like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, like just no matter how you network, it's a good idea to start doing.
And to add to that, I came in as a first generation student. I didn't have anyone from my family going to college or have been to college. And my first semester of college ever, I really strictly sticked to my education. I didn't want to tackle on too much right away because I wanted to be sure that I could even like pass my classes, because I was so concerned with just being a first generation student and figuring out everything on your own. And so I wouldn't say, I would say that's awesome that you're looking to get involved, but also just make sure that you can have enough time in the day. And I mean, I was so jealous of all my friends that were joining all these clubs, and I had like FOMO. I was like missing out, and I wanted to join and add on like 4 different things, but just make sure that you have the time for it and make sure that you can stick to your studies as well. I think that's the best advice that I would give somebody coming in, because I was so scared of missing out, but your education is really what comes first as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like one other side story, but also like my main piece of advice, because I think we go until 2:30, I think. But so I know that we're running out of time, so that way if I can give you any advice, it's with the story of little freshman Amanda. So she was in a program, GPS program, and I was a peer mentor. I was also in that program. It's for first generation students, or any other student who's kind of like disadvantaged coming into college and needs those resources. And we were supposed to like switch rooms and go talk to other groups because we were so used to talking to our freshmen that I was like a mentor for. They're like, okay, let's go switch it up, see if you connect with other freshmen. And she came up to me at the end of the like little session. She's like, hello. And then she's like, so I really like also criminals, and because I want to go into like forensic psychology and work in prisons and psychiatric hospitals. She's like, I think that's really cool, but also you're an ambassador and I really want to be an ambassador. So like we're there, we're on the same wavelength. And so like pretty much it's just
And that's
that
how
little itty bitty interaction was enough for me to get excited for Amanda to apply to be an ambassador. I looked for her name in like our interview list. Like I was like, we need to hire Amanda Rosado and like all these other people that I like noticed. And so just saying that one little thing, you know, it's not some big extravagant like I was a lead speaker at some conference and now I know people. It's just like making a connection to someone who you don't know all the connections they have, because I talked Amanda up probably until she got hired.
Oh, wow.
And like, so but like I remember her, and I remembered because nobody else came up to me that entire day and said like, what you said resonated with me. So it meant a lot for me to say something important, but also it was important that she thought what I said was important enough to come up to me after and let me know that. So just like day by day, it's hard to imagine like, what am I going to be in 10 years from now? How am I going to be a senior one day? Like, how am I going to be great 30 years from now? But like, just worry about who you are today and what you're going to do today to make that person happy. You know what I mean? So, like little itty bitty steps. And so you can't be who you want to be in 10 years if you can't even be who you're going to be today. So just do something like a little something every day to get out there. Like, just be brave just a little bit every day.
Yep.
So that would be like my main advice.
Okay. So I haven't really taken a big look at the list of extracurricular activities there. Is there like a group for? Because I know at Ashwaubenon we did a musical every year. I liked being part of that. I mean, I wasn't an actor on the stage, but I really loved working behind the scenes, making all the sets and doing all that. Is there something like that here?
Yeah, on Handshake, I go on there quite frequently to look at different internships and different job opportunities. And you don't need to be a part of the theater program to work for them or do any of the behind the scenes, like behind the stage type of jobs. So actually on Handshake, which is a website that the university uses for on and off campus jobs, internships, externships, you can make an account. You can find it right on the UW Green Bay page. And you can look in that theater department, you can filter out your job searches and look for certain jobs and what you're interested in. And when I was on there, I was looking last year, but I know, of course, it's going to happen every year. They hire people for behind the scenes things for the theater productions. So they're definitely, you can find them definitely on Handshake, or probably just going to like the theater hall itself and just asking around, seeing if they need any extra help. But I know that there's definitely job offers for backstage crew on handshake.com.
Alright.
Additionally, so if you're looking for something with on-campus students, so we have over 140 organizations. I literally just went to uwgb.edu. I went to the students tab, and I went to student orgs and student org directory. There is an organization called Alternate Theater, and according to their description on here, it says, Alternate Theater provides unique opportunities for students in all aspects of theater and performance. It reaches out to incoming and returning students and provides both majors and non-majors with opportunities to get involved with theater. Alternate Theater promotes UWGB theater productions both on campus and in the community and directly funds studio productions throughout the year. Group activities include day and overnight trips to large cities to see professional theater, theater-related social events throughout the year, workshops, and opportunities to interact with university faculty and other professional artists. So like, even, you know what I mean? Like, it's just people who are in majors and not majors who just enjoy theater and like being a part of that sort of a thing. So, just if there's not an org, you can start one. But otherwise, go look through that list and see if there's something that you're like, that's exactly what I was looking for. I just didn't know the name of it. And so they have like little bios for every org we have.
Yeah, okay. Because some of my the two things that I'm gonna remember from high school probably the most was helping out with the School of Rock play that we did in my sophomore year, and then this past year we did Les Mis. That was a great time.
Yes. Also, I'm not sure how this could happen, but let's say you look at the theater major like classes. I don't think you have to be a theater major to take those classes. And if there was like a prereq for those classes, sometimes you can ask the professor like, hey, this is just kind of my hobby. This is what I'm into. I'm not a major. And sometimes they'll let you bypass those prereq courses and let you take something. So like stage production is like a class that we have, I believe. They have like a costume designing class. Like they have a lot of like of the technical stuff as well. So you could look into just have that being a course that you take too. Yeah, so I think you have some options for sure.
Any other questions at all as we're wrapping up?
I don't have any right now.
I asked all my questions, so.
Oh, good. I'm glad we got to answer them.
Thank you guys so much for doing this, because I was really wondering about,
All
commuting and all that stuff. So.
Yes, of course. Well, I'm going to put my email in the chat. So if you guys have questions, doesn't have to be today, tomorrow, this year, or anything. But if you have questions or you want to know a little bit more about commuter life, just feel free to email me or something. And then, yeah, just feel free to ask. Because at least then you have a point of contact where you know, like, I don't know who to ask. I don't even know if that person's a commuter, but I want to know. And so now you have at least 2 contacts that you can reach out to, okay?
Yes. And lastly, before we go, I wanted to remind you about there's a commuter student lounge on campus. It's on the first floor of the Union. It's behind the Phoenix Club. There's a microwave, there's tables, there's chairs, there's couches. Also, the Mesa is a really great place to hang out for commuter students as well. They have a full kitchen and computers back there in case your computer dies or anything. So I just wanted to remind you about that because I know a lot of commuter students don't know about the student lounge there. Awesome. Have a great day.
Yes, I hope I see you guys around sometime. I know I'm graduating soon, but we'll see what spring holds for us. But yeah, good luck on your first day tomorrow. And like I said, feel free to reach out. You don't even have to be like, hey, I don't know if you remember me, but just like send the email and be like, what's up? Because I'll answer it, whatever it is. So, okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Guys, good luck.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.